What's up, everybody? How are ya? Welcome to a non-Tuesday edition of Rocket Live. We appreciate you all joining us right now, rocking out with us live right here as we do a special edition of Rocket Live. I am so pumped. I've got Brooklyn in the house. Yes, Tosca DiMatteo is here, my great friend, and awesome colleague, and we've been talking about getting you on the show for so long. And I appreciate your flexibility because when we had booked this like ages ago to have you on, and then I wound up being away, and so we did a little shuffling, but we got you on. You're here. I am so happy. I am so pumped to dig into what we're going to be talking about today, because we're talking about corporate culture revolution. I love it. All fired up. How are you?
Yes. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. It's all like divine timing. You know, when schedules change, I just learned to be like, hey, that means today is meant to be the day. So I'm super pumped to be with you and have this conversation. And yeah, man, and in the heat of the summer, this is great.
I know. We're gonna rock it out today. We're gonna have a great conversation. I'm super looking forward to it. For everybody who's hanging out with us live right now, feel free to post any comments or questions as we go in the chat, as always, because all questions and comments are absolutely welcome. For those of you watching the replay, thank you so much for checking it out. Make sure you connect with myself and also with Tosca. All her links are in the posts here. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, all the links that we're going to be talking about and discussing will be in the show notes. So you can easily click on all that. Some quick housekeeping before we get going. Once again, as always, I always love to say thank you so much. And I always say, you know, I've got a brand new group I've been talking about for the last couple months. I'm really excited about it. It's called the Let's Rock Group. And this is a group that I created. It's a group coaching community where it's all about bringing people together who want to learn how to stand out, learn how to engage with their audience, learn how to do all the different techniques, things that I do, things that I've done that have helped me in my career. And this is an awesome community loaded with business owners, entrepreneurs, sales professions, all kinds of professionals who are really looking to level up and get noticed, be more memorable. So if you feel like you're out there and you're screaming into the void and you feel like no one hears what you're saying, you feel invisible, well, this group is all about making you stand out and become more memorable. So if you want to learn more, head over to letsrockgroup.com. When you sign up, you get 7 days free before you're even charged a cent. Nothing's charged. So you get time to hang out in there, join the community, talk to people. I go live in that group 3 times a month where we're doing trainings and group coaching and live Q&As and all kinds of awesome stuff. So you can get in there, watch the recordings, hang out, do whatever you want. So you get 7 days for free right off the bat. And you can choose between a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription. And with all that stuff out of the way, all that shameless self-promotion, I want to get into it because my guest is here and she is ready to rock it. Tosca DiMatteo, thank you so much for coming on today. And let's dive into it. You are the founder of Tosca Coaching, and you and I met as I feel like I say this every single show. I've met so many people that it's kind of funny. Like we're already running in a lot of the same circles, but it took like getting on a like Clubhouse app to like actually get really connected. And so, we got to talking on Clubhouse. We met. You were so gracious enough to have me as a guest on your live Instagram show that you do on Tuesdays, Talk About It Tuesday. And that was such a great time. We had a blast. And if you guys want to watch that video, you can head over to my website and hit the blog. You can also see it. Tosca's also been reposting all those awesome interviews with everybody that she's been doing over on her Instagram account. So make sure you hit her up over there as well to check those out. Once again, those show links are all the links to Tosca's ways to connect with her are in the links above. Let's talk about your coaching because I think what you do is just awesome and you're super unique. And there's so many things like you and I have so many awesome parallels because I was just talking about it offline. I'm checking out your site. I'm like, you've got like these awesome pictures. Like you just like do such a great job of branding yourself and creating like a whole look and feel to what you're doing. And I'm going to share it too. Even your logo. I dig your logo so much, your owl logo. It's just so cool. But talk about your coaching because you specifically target in on the corporate culture of things, and that's what we're going to be talking about. But that's like your main thing.
Yeah, thank you so much. By the way, I just like look as a marketer, like marketing is important to me, marketing myself, and it's
right.
It's always the hardest thing to do, right? Is like, oh wait, who am I? Like what do I want to put in the world? So I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I think that I spent 20 years, in corporate environments, and I believe that like there's just a way to just revolutionize the way that these, that organizations kind of treat people, the way that they lead people, and also I think there's a lot of healing that needs to happen first of all in the world,
right?
And as individuals, especially when you're charged with leading others, I think it's just part of the responsibility to say, like, as a leader, how am I showing up to the table, and how does that impact actually the way that I lead, and what maybe I could do better. And so my coaching and my corporate culture revolution work always starts with like the individual that really wants to do the work for their team. It always starts with, all right, well, let's talk about you. Let's talk about what's happening with you and where your frustrations are. And we just, just go deep in the personal and the business, because they both are happening at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's, we talked about this too on your show of just like the whole thing that we all get caught up in, and especially in corporate culture, because it's the way that it's been, which is, really getting caught into like the script, we talked about it, like ditching the script and you get put into like this box and you come up from a certain way, and that's how it's been trained and all that. But as what we've all just been through, and like, well, it's not over. I mean, we're still going through it. It has created like just this change, whether you've liked it or not. I think before it's been like, well, you kind of got the option to go this way or that way, but this is like what we've all experienced as a global community now, with the great pause of 2020 and still going into this, that it has forced change where organizations, I should say, or cultures were reluctant and stagnant. And now there's just there's no hiding from it. You have to go through it. And, and especially with what we're hearing, I mean, I know you follow everything, and, right now we're in this crazy period where there's tons of job openings and people are leaving their jobs and being like, you know what? This culture that I was part of doesn't work for me anymore. And I know there's a better way. And I'm going to go find a company that suits me rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're finding tons of that. I mean, with probably a lot of the clients you're working with.
Yeah. I think that, as horrible as the pandemic is and has been, it's created a crack. Created a crack in everything. And, as a coach, it's like, yes, like, let's be more aware about reality. Let's question status quo. Let's realize status quo is not working for us. Right.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of, people are like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I only have this one life to live, and I want to take my power back. And I think that's what you're seeing. And thank God, from my
Right.
perspective, it's like, yes, like, because we've been in these structures that are unfair and unequitable and not caring actually about the humanity that runs the businesses. And so now you're like, people are saying, gee, you know what? Maybe I didn't need it this way. Maybe I didn't need this exact paycheck and this exact company, because actually I'm realizing there's other things that are more important to me. And because organizations haven't put the focus on, let me really treat people like people, let me understand what they care about, actually, and not just understand it, but actually honor it. Now
Right.
they're faced with a situation. Oh shit, we can't. We're having trouble retaining, or we're having trouble recruiting. It's like, yep, exactly. And now the big question, Chris, I think, is, are organizations willing to put the investment in the people and stop talking about it and walk the freaking talk? Because there's
Yep.
been a lot of talk over the past couple of years, and the budgets still don't reflect the action. So, I'm fired up, Chris, because that's how I
I
roll.
know. Well, you roll hard. I love it. I love it. This is why you and I get along so well.
Yeah, it's that fire. But
It is.
I say it because I know that literally people's lives are at stake, because these environments can be traumatizing, small T and big T, right? And I don't even have to say hashtag me too to make my point on that.
Right.
And so I think that the stakes are high, because people are being hurt by these environments, because companies do not see it as their responsibility to actually manage culture. It cannot be something that you just let run wild.
Right.
You have to
Right.
manage it, which means you have to put funding behind it and do it right and get the right support in there to help.
Yeah, and exactly to your point. I mean, this is what we're seeing now. I mean, you're seeing the reverse of like people just being like, you know what? I don't have to stay here anymore. I'm gonna go find something else. And I'm gonna take the time to find a place that is the right culture, appreciates me, sees what I bring to the table, but sees me as a human being and what I need to be able to perform. And that's what people want to be part of. And if your organization is just kind of like the attitude of like, hey, you're lucky to have a job and you're lucky that we're paying you. If that's your attitude and that is it, then you know what? You're gonna have a
It ain't gonna
really
work.
hard time finding some talent.
Well, and that's why I'm really stoked about, your group that you talked about at the beginning of this, because I think there's a lot of people moving into the gig and freelance economy, or there's a lot of people looking at that on the side to say, but like, what am I really passionate about? And how do I do that? Because if you've never done it before, you really need support. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
such a fan of what you're doing, because in order for people to like live their truth, right, and try things that are new and uncomfortable, I think they need support. And I love that you're doing it in this group way, which is just even more like exponentially impactful.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you. And that's why I started it because, I mean, and I love doing my one-to-one coaching with people, but at the other end, I wanted to offer something else too. So, maybe one-to-one may not be something for you yet, or you're not ready for that kind
Mhm.
of deep dive, intensive work together. And that's totally cool. So the group is a way to still get access to components of things that I talk about and the things that I teach and train on without having to do the intense one-to-one, but also be part of a community of people who are all feeling the same way and people who are helping each other out and talking and dialoguing and that's really what it is. It's this inclusivity of everybody who kind of is coming from the same spot, and wanting to help each other out. And then I go in and I provide as much value as I can so people can learn and ask questions and grow with each other. I mean, that's the whole point of the group.
Yeah, and I was reminded recently, I did this like 3-part series, career coaching, to help people shift their energy
Right.
in the job search, because it's so antiquated, the way that we think about how we're supposed to like find the next thing.
Right.
And I was reminded in that situation how important it is for people to realize you're not alone in the struggles that you're dealing with. And I think that like that's again to why group is helpful, is you're like, people are sharing their stories, and because of that, people can look at their lives and say, okay, I'm not the only one struggling, and like that makes me feel better. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think it makes you feel so much better. I think when you can talk to somebody, and we all go through this, right? I mean, especially being a business owner, regardless of I think how large your company or whether you're a gig worker, a freelancer, or you're running like a nice size company, like you still feel alone. Like, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. I mean, that's the thing. And the thing is, we all know we're not alone, but it doesn't help you get, but you still feel it. And
Yeah.
so groups like, what I'm doing, and then, and what you're doing with your coaching and the seminars and stuff that you run, your classes, presentations, it really reminds people that like you are not alone, and people feel the same way you do. And there are a community of people who want to help and want to grow and want to learn together, and
Yeah.
so, in certain people, you create an environment for that to foster. And
Well, Chris, I'm
that's
never
good.
alone because I've always got Baby Yoda with me. Like
I
I'm
know.
always
Always got Grogu.
always gotta have like, always gotta have like your support team.
You have to. Yeah, for me, it's all my records and yeah, and all. I got a ton of Star Wars stuff sitting over there too. But it's like,
Yes.
but yeah, everybody's got their thing, and it's so important, that you find your thing, and that's your thing.
And I think it's funny because, even, if people ask me, well, how's your business doing? Right? Like I can sit here and I can be like, it's great. And like, yeah, I'm living the best life. But you know what? The truth is like, it's fucking hard.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
looking for companies that want support in doing this hard work, which requires a lot of looking in the mirror. And so, it's hard enough to find like one-on-one clients, let alone like companies that want to invest in their people. Like, and that's the truth of it. But I think it's all about your truth about your purpose and your mission, and you're staying true to that. And you and I, we're both straight shooters. We're very authentic. What you see is what you get. And it's like, yeah, no, I don't have a fucking figure business right now. And I'm working on it, and it's a grind. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell people like entrepreneurship is so glamorous. No, it's not. It's like the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. It's a different kind of hard,
it is.
yeah.
It is. It's like I always say, like, if people have never had a tattoo before, they always go, does it really hurt? And I go, well, it depends where you get it, but yeah, it freaking hurts. But you know what? I always say it's a good pain. Like, I don't know how to describe it.
Mm,
It's for me, it's like, yeah, it hurts, man, but it's like it's a good pain, because then you get to say like, wow, I've got this like awesome artwork that represents something that's like, an extension of me, and what I believe, or whatever it is. It's unique to you. That's why tattoos are so personal. Not the silly ones we got when we're like, 17, 18 years old, but but you know what I mean? It is. And I always say it's a good pain. And that's what I say about entrepreneurism and business ownership is, yeah, it's tough, man. It's not easy. It's not all roses. It's a lot of hard work. And anybody that tells you to buy their system that's gonna, get you to where you got to go in 90 days is full of it. It doesn't work like that. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of making mistakes, and it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of learning lessons from everything that you do. And that's why it's good pain. I feel like it's good pain, because the reward is at the end of the day, you're able to do what you want to do, and you're not asking freaking permission for it. Like, you're doing it. And so that the reward is that you're getting to live the life you want to do the way you want to do it. And, and it's not without its pain, but it's a good pain.
yeah. Yeah. I feel like I need you to be my tattoo buddy, because I've been talking about getting a tattoo. It's like, for years. I was like, when I turn 40, I'm gonna get one. I turned 40, like that did not happen. But I really want like a dragon on like my hand. I think that's
That'd
like
be cool.
but that would hurt like hell. Anyway.
You should get that awesome owl, man.
Oh yes, my owl logo. Yes.
I'm totally showing this right now. Hold on. I'm sharing this screen because then I also want to because I love, listen, I tell you all the time. I think your logo looks awesome, because I think it's just totally like, it's got this like total like, whoops, wrong one. That's the front page of the site. Let me get to the other tab.
Thank you. Yeah, Laura at Design Mastermind designed that for me a couple of years ago. So I love it too. Makes me
Boom.
feel good.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Rush cover for Fly By Night a little bit, but I think this is way cooler.
I'm totally a 90s chick, so the reference might be a little bit lost on me, but I appreciate it. I think there's something about, whether you're individual or whether you're a business, like how do you capture the magic of what you bring to the table?
Right.
And I think there's like there's a deep dive that you could do about that. And,
Right.
to me, the owl really represents a deeper knowing. It represents being able to see in the dark, being able to see where other people maybe can't see.
Right.
So, for me, there's like this depth to like what the owl stands for. You can see, actually, I think I have like all these owl calendars, like, but that's the fun thing about building brands. I think when you really know what you're about,
Yeah.
it makes it a lot easier to kind of bring it to life.
Yeah. Even your headshot, the one you sent me that I used to like promo this interview. I love it. You got the Brooklyn hat on and you got like the whole pose going on. I love that. It's so great. It's so much
Oh,
fun.
thank you. There's so many facets, right? Like we're
Yeah.
multifaceted, we're dynamic. And so, I think we just have to be courageous also to show all those sides of us, even if it doesn't necessarily fit in the boxes that have been laid out, because the boxes are antiquated, right? Like,
Right.
and I know that you believe in this. It's like when you're trying to enter a space that you just feel, holy crap, like how is there a room for one more person? It's
Right.
just about recognizing that you don't have to play the same game that everybody else is playing. You know,
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
me think of
Absolutely.
Simon Sinek's book, The Infinite Game. I love that book because
Okay.
it talks about how, you know, having this mindset that like businesses are in competition with each other is actually just you're playing a finite game, as opposed to, thinking more infinitely about possibilities and about collaboration and about actually, the benefits of having other people in that space with you.
Hmm.
So anyway, it's a heart-centered read. Simon, you know how Simon Sinek is. He wrote the book
Yeah.
Find Your Why and everything.
Right.
But yeah, like we can't let those things hold us back from going after our dreams, because there's space for all of us. There's 7 billion people in the world. There's space for all of our dreams and all of our superpowers.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, absolutely. It's there's enough room for people to do all the things they want. And as we always say, it's like don't be standing around waiting for permission to do things. Like the only permission you need is your own. Like,
Right.
give yourself the permission to do all the things you want to do. And I think too, this is why we're seeing, just to go back to what we were originally
Yeah.
talking about, why we're seeing an exodus of people leaving their jobs and doing something new, because they're finding things out about themselves that they didn't realize. They're coming to the realization like, hey, I'm unhappy where I am. There is something different, or their untapped passion of something that they've always wanted to do and they're putting it off. And when we go through things like this, because it's not like we go through global pandemics like this all the time, but
Thank God.
it shakes people, and it gets them going, and however it's affected them in their lives, it gets them thinking. I mean, and saying,
Yeah.
what am I waiting for? What am I waiting for? Like,
Right. And I think the same holds, for those in corporate environments, right?
yeah,
That don't realize the power that they have to create change. That's why one of the workshops I do is called Influencing Company Culture. Because it doesn't matter if you're in the C-suite or not, like you have more power than you think you have to fight for the things that you need and want and advocate for yourself and for others. And I'm grateful that we're in this time where people are starting to see the fault lines in these illusions that have been created about who has power and who doesn't. And I'm not saying there's not a reality to that. Clearly there's a reality who has power
right,
and who doesn't. But also, when we start to stand in our truth and our power, like that is where we can make change. because we are clear in ourselves, and it becomes more powerful tool to actually influence the change that you want to see, because you're not wavering in how you feel about things, or you're not wavering in your integrity, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's really I think it's really something to be like just so mindful of, is like you talk about it. It's like we all have power, and it's just a matter of realizing the strengths that we already possess, and how oftentimes we just overlook the things that are our strengths or our real power. And we even sometimes classify them as weaknesses, like,
Yes.
and I've fallen into that trap many times over, coming up through, the years of like things that I thought were not suitable, or like poor parts of me that I didn't want other people to see, because I was like, oh, I don't know, it's just gonna come off as this or that, or like goofy, or like who cares, like. And
Yeah.
when I started to realize little by little, like these aspects of like these parts of me, or things that I'm interested in, or like that, it created actually the access, or the conversations that I wanted to have, that I was already trying to have. And then I just realized, when I just started using certain aspects of myself that I wasn't utilizing, that things began to happen. And it was like unlocking like a total, door, that I was like, holy, I didn't even realize, how much I was like holding myself
Mm.
back. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's a really, it's a really powerful thing to come to realization of, and I always tell everybody, you are born with everything you absolutely positively need
Mm.
to succeed. You do. And, and then when you really hone in on that, and you develop relationships with other people around you who are going to help you, support you, not yes you, because that's not the way either. You want real people who are going to help and guide you, and are going to be like a positive force in your life, and will tell you, when you ask them, like they'll tell you how it is, or they'll be open and honest with you. Like those are the relationships you want to have. So for me, it's always been about that, like, be honest with yourself, and then, and be honest with those around you, and you're going to, that's where success ultimately comes for
Yeah.
anybody, I think.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the perceptions we have about ourselves, or the way that we lose the knowing of our superpowers, is through the conditioning and through external messaging that we internalize.
Right.
And that's why I say that, like, we all need healing. Like, if you went through a childhood, like, there's something that probably needs to be healed, so that you can come back to your truest self. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that it's always mind-boggling to me when I work with clients who, like, I need to hold up a mirror and say, hey, by the way, this is your light, my friend. Like,
Yeah.
this is beautiful, like, own it. Because also we can be shamed for our light, because
Yep.
of who the company wants you to be, or what traits that they think are acceptable or not. And so we hide parts of ourselves, and that becomes shame. And then all of a sudden we're operating at like 30% of who we are.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just such a travesty.
It is. And I think that, as we're seeing, like more and more people are realizing that it doesn't have to be just this way anymore. You know,
Yeah.
there's one thing to be said about policy, and of course, the legalness of certain organizations, because that's just the way it has to be. You got to follow the
Mm.
law of certain things. But, you know, but then to the other extent, then to like suppress your number one asset, which is your people, is a complete, is a completely different story. Like, and like you said, it gets to the point where, like, yeah, you're only being like 30% of who you actually really are. And I think if more companies realize that it's an untapped potential that they have in their people,
Yeah.
which is and as we were just talking about, their culture, you're going to see success probably like you've never seen it before within your own company. And this is why I love how you talk about, and I love that you phrase this, because you were saying that, it's something I want to talk about, which is this corporate culture revolution. And
Mm.
And I love that because it really is. I love the punk rock sound of that too. So it's like, how I am. It's like, yes, yes, let's go for it. But I think it's really, it's really, really cool to talk about that because it is such it's so relevant, and we're seeing it unfold like real time, like what
Yeah.
we've been talking about, and like just that idea of like this corporate culture revolution where there's no real place to hide anymore.
Well, and on the one hand, right, like when I use that word, it's because I really feel that things are so far gone,
Yeah,
right? They're so foobarred that this isn't about small adjustments. This isn't about hire that one DEI person to like, no, honey child, you need to rethink a lot of things because it is that broken. And nobody wants to hear revolution. Like it's a scary word. And
right.
I'm not for everybody because, if you can't handle the truth, don't call me. I'm here to help you see the truth so that you can actually do what's in the best interest for your organization and your people. Because look, the organization has to run too. This isn't about like, airy fairy. It's about driving strategy with the people that you have in a way that lifts them up and doesn't bring them down. So yeah, I feel strongly that we have to see things for what they are, which is very broken, and that we just got to shine lights and realize we can do better. And just every day, if we just do a little bit better and a little bit better, it doesn't have to be so daunting. And I think this space can feel really daunting if you let it, and myself included. Some days I'm just like, really? I'm trying to help this? Like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but I have to come back to like, really, it's about being true to yourself, and it's about honoring the human in front of you. It can be that simple if we let it be that simple.
Yeah, I love that. You put it very simply. I mean, it really is that. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than how you just said it. I want to talk real quick about, because we
Yeah.
we're flashing it throughout the show already, and it's in the show notes. But you've got a guide for
Mhm.
asking powerful questions to influence change. What is that about?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So, I think that, as a coach, right, so much of what I do is asking the powerful questions that will get you to think differently about whatever it is you're trying to overcome. And powerful questions are used not just for ourselves and what we can unlock within ourselves, but also in the context of who we're trying to influence. So the guide has three parts to it. It has questions to ask yourself, questions to ask leaders, and questions to ask people on your team. So whichever way you're trying to influence, there's some questions that I think are very powerful to help you maybe think about things in a way that you haven't. Because when we're stuck and we feel like we can't make the changes that we want, it's probably because we need help in thinking differently about what's possible and what the solutions might be.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that. And so for people watching right now, whether you're watching live or the replay, you'll see the scroll going across the screen where it says text the word influence to 66866 to receive Tosca's free guide to asking powerful questions, influence change. There's also a link in the notes and the post section wherever you're watching this, or if you're listening to this, and you could also get access to that as well. But yeah, if you text the word influence to 66866, you'll receive the free guide to asking powerful questions to influence change. So make sure you go ahead and do that if you want access to this awesome guide. I like that. It's a great idea.
Thank you. Thanks. Just
Yeah.
sometimes again, it can be more simple than we tell ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I also want to talk about too. So I was um as I'd said at the top, I was a guest on your show. Now
Yes.
you have a live show that you do on your IG, at Tosca de Matteo, which is, once again, those links are in the notes, so you can click on that. So let's talk a little bit about that,
Mm.
because I had a great time on your show, but you're doing this every Tuesday, which I think is cool. And here it is. Talk about it Tuesday. And right now you've been doing summer picks, which is
Yeah.
replaying a lot of the different interviews that you were doing throughout the year. But talk about it Tuesday and sort of what your goal has been with that, and how long you've
Yeah.
been doing it. And
Thank you. Actually, I started like last August, so it's been a year, and so I've had like over 40 episodes. So Chris, like you made it to the top of the list, but I was really trying
yes,
to pick. I was really trying to pick like episodes that lift people up, that like was energetic for to match like summer vibes, and what I think like people might be, wondering, because I think you can get to August, you're like, oh my God, I had this list of shit I want to do, and I didn't
right,
do it. That's why I really wanted people to see yours, because it's like, you know what, it's not too late. You can still, feel that excitement. But really, let me tell you, the reason why I started it was because, like I said, I feel like, the biggest work of our lives is the work we do on ourselves. We can't control anything else but us, and our thoughts, and our and what we choose to do. So I have a certain way into these concepts, but I believe that people's stories, their journeys, their perspective on how to be your best self is so powerful. So
right,
I wanted to bring people on the show that I think have a message to share about overcoming challenges, or things that they've gone through in their life, because I want to uh, help reach as many people as I can to realize, like, you can live your best life, and here are some tools to do that. Like, that was really my impetus, which is, how can I help spread the word about taking care of yourself, healing yourself, and growing into the person that you want to be, with real tangible tools
right.
and inspiration.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool, and I love, and I've watched a lot of the interviews that you've done, and I think they're great because I just, and I like the way you dialogue with people, and you get everybody just talking, and it's just real conversations, which I dig. It's not just so much like, hey, someone's coming on and just like promote their thing. Like, it's actually like
Mhm.
you're digging in deep, and you've got some really interesting topics with what the person is sort of an expert or specialist in, I don't know, you just get into these really cool conversations. I find them very interesting, and I like that you're doing it over on IG,
Mhm.
and using IG live, and so that's something too I did want to talk to you about, because I've been
Mhm.
noticing a lot, and I've been doing a little bit more lives and here and there on
Mhm.
that, but I've been noticing more and more people really utilizing like IG live to like do their
Mhm.
interviews, or podcast or whatever. So,
Mhm.
what have you found? How have you what has your experience been with using IG live? Do you feel like it's been helping you and your brand and get the word out with these
Mhm.
interviews? Is what are you finding over like doing
Yeah.
something like this? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that question. I appreciate that you're a super fan. I love that. You know what? I think that when you build a business, you have to honor what feels good to you, right?
Right.
So, like, IG is a very inspirational platform. So for me, it just like aligned for me versus like Facebook, right? I just
Right.
was like, I'm just not on the Facebook vibe. So for me, it was partly like, where do I feel energized to do this? I also think that it's very accessible. So the kinds of people that I bring on to my show, are just all kinds of people. A lot of them actually don't necessarily have experience doing IG lives. And I think what's fun about the platform is that it's like low barrier, right? Like,
Right.
it's just, let me help you get your voice out there. And I think IG is a really easy platform for that. And I think that because you can save it, right? It's
Yeah.
accessible after the fact. You can upload it and put it into YouTube, so it doesn't have to just stay on that channel. And I like that, like, for those people who aren't on IG, like, they can still access that content in other ways. And I feel like it has helped me build a community. Like, I have people that, you know, like, bookmark it and come back, and like they watch consistently, and that makes me feel good, because it just confirms, like, this is valuable for people and they want authentic content like that. Like, I think that, like, the super produced content, it has a time and a place,
Right.
but I think people are just craving real conversations and authenticity, and I think Instagram is a platform that allows for that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, and I know it's been something I've been trying to do a lot more of, because, as I do this show, and this is where I wish that, um, I hear it's coming, but I wish that this platform, I use StreamYard to do this show, and I
Yeah.
wish that there was more of an integration between this and Instagram, so I could broadcast the show on Instagram. And I've been thinking of maybe doing like sort of like doing this and then bouncing over to Instagram or something like that. And not everybody has all that kind of time to keep doing that, but it is something I've been doing a lot more of. And
Yeah.
I noticed the difference, and I think it's a cool vibe and it's a cool communication tool to use. So I think that the line of thinking, which I don't know how prevalent it is anymore or relevant, but I think a lot of people still consider Instagram a little bit of a quote unquote younger person's
Mm.
platform, and are not utilizing the tools accessible to them for business and marketing purposes, branding purposes, and or just to do something because you want to do it, and it is a visual platform. And I think people have to think,
Yeah.
you have to remember that first and foremost. Instagram is a visual platform, and what you're doing, what we're doing, interview, that's still visual. It's video and audio. And actually, more and more of these platforms are turning more into video streaming platforms than anything.
Right.
TikTok has really helped to push that along. Obviously, YouTube, which has always been a video platform first, but TikTok has really forced a lot of the other platforms to start doing things like that, like being able to broadcast out and create content. And I think just Instagram is another great tool to create, the content you want to create. So I think it's something that more business owners or, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, whatever, sales professionals.
Mm.
I mean, I put it this way. If you're a professional and you're in any kind of business where you need to generate business and become more memorable and get yourself out there, you should be doing some sort of streaming type of platform. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, stuff like this, going on YouTube, whatever it is, to put yourself out there. I think you're doing yourself a real disservice by not utilizing, taking advantage of those platforms, because like you said, you're finding yourself building a community around that. And people begin to say, oh, great, Tuesdays is when Tosca's going live, and I'm going to be able to watch this cool interview with whoever her awesome guest is, and I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is like you can translate it into other media, because when you are your brand, like
Yep.
we are, right?
Yep.
Like it's hard to like hire people to like write your content because it's
Yeah.
right. So when you have the audio and you can translate it, you can create a blog from it, right? Like then you don't have to worry about, is this my brand voice? Of course it's your brand voice. It's your actual voice being translated. So
Yeah.
I think it provides, even if it's not somebody's like go-to,
Mhm.
it can become, it can be done in other, it can be used for other formats to make it easier to create that content. And by the way, you can like through the website of Instagram, like you can take the recording of this and upload it into Instagram, which is what I've done when I've done StreamYard.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can do that. I
It's, I
know.
mean, like the format's not vertical and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
it's
I
not
get it,
I
but
mean, you'd have to like basically, somebody just has to flip their phone, which is fine. I mean, that's just what has to happen. So
yeah,
but yeah, no, you can absolutely do that. And and then I've experimented a little bit with that. So
yeah.
but I do love I like going live because I like the community and the instant, the dialogue back and forth with everybody. So I think that's very cool. And I think actually I may even start doing this show on the Fireside app as well. So I may start taking this to where I've been creating on, which is, that's an app you should definitely get involved with, is the Fireside app, because you could basically get what you're doing with Instagram, but also on that. So you get an audience, you get live interaction. It's very, very cool. I'll have to get you on it.
Super cool. Yeah, you are
Yeah.
so on top of all of that. It's hard to stay on top of all of it these days. Like it's
It's a
crazy.
lot, but it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think to your point, I think people are looking for authenticity, and I know it's like an overused word, but like people are looking for realness.
Mhm.
And so the live conversations, I think, is like what you see is what you get. Like this isn't edited. It's not, and I think that people are craving. I think you have some people that want the visual along with the dialogue, which is why like podcasts are, not for everybody, because sometimes if you're not like audio oriented, it can be hard to like follow a
Right.
podcast without a visual. So, it's just about knowing your audience and like
Yep.
knowing yourself and being like, all right, let me, and experimenting, giving it a try, to the point. It's like, if you're resistant to it, like, explore the resistance and see what happens if you would give yourself permission to do it wrong or do it badly, and see how you feel,
Yep.
about what you create.
Yeah, no, I think that is 100% well said. I couldn't agree with what you said even more. That was awesome. Very, very cool. So, man, I can't even believe this. It's like we're
I know.
45 minutes in. I feel like I could talk to you for. I feel like I say this that I could talk to everybody forever. It's like we can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But no, I really appreciate you coming on today and spending some time with me and getting into this really cool conversation. I hope everybody out there who's been watching and listening to this found a lot of great value in what Tosca was saying. Tosca, where's a great way for, all the links are in the notes once again, so you can connect with her any way you want, but what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you can reach me at breakthrough@toscadimatteo.com if you want to email me. That's it can be real simple.
There you go. Super, super duper simple. So you could just email her and you'll be in touch. That's it right away. So make sure you connect with her through all the links. Of course, as we were talking before, text the word influence to 66866 and receive Tosca's free guide to asking powerful questions to influence change. Do that right now. Stop everything you're doing and just do that. Just text that word influence to 66866 and get that guidebook. I will, once again, the links are in the show notes, so you can click on that and get access to it too. I want to thank everybody for watching with us today. Thanks for watching live. Thank you to you who will be watching the replay. We appreciate each and every one of you. And for those listening to the audio version, thank you all so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening to this video or audio. Not only does it help me and the guests I have on, but it also helps grow the show. It's very important. So please hit that subscribe button, and then that way you'll get notified every single time a new video or audio version of the show is dropped on whatever your favorite medium of choice is. And with that, I guess I'll say goodbye. I'll sign off. So any final words before we pack it in?
Just thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me on your platform. I'm a big fan, and I just wish you all the best in building what you're building at Rocket Growth Agency.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And thanks for all your help and for all your time. It's been awesome getting to be friends with you over these last few months. And make sure you also check out the interview that we did together on Tosca's Talk About It Tuesday. Head over to her Instagram account right now where she currently has it in the replay. It's being replayed right now. I'm official summer pick. Love it. Make sure you check it out. It was a great conversation. We had a ton of fun together. So that was a lot of fun to do. So I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. It was great to have you as a guest.
Yeah, awesome. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again. And make sure you check back. We'll be live again on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Central Time. Make sure you check that out. We'll have another awesome guest here. And always remember, be authentic, be yourself, and always remember to rock it. See you guys